welcome back to the channel. In today's video lecture, we are going to cover virtualization basics. Without wasting any time, let's get directly started for it. So, uh, okay, we have go. We will start. So, these are the prerequisites which I recommend every one of you to go through them. You should have a basic knowledge. So, without wasting any of time, let's go. So, virtualization. Before understanding what is virtualization, you need to know what happened before its concept. Okay. Whatever I am telling you, it's the gist of the whatever theory they have given here. I'm just giving you a synopsis of it. So, before the concept of virtualization, what the idea follows is was that one server means one application, which means that one physical server can support only one application, which we will say that, which means if a company wanted to run a several tasks, okay, like for example, it want to run its email services, an app, a website. So it means for every single service, they need a single server that is not efficient because many servers stayed at 5 to 20% usage, which means there is a several waste of the CPU memory and storage resources, and it was also very high cost for the maintenance and all stuff, and it was hard to make. So, to tackle these problems, the concept of virtualization was shared. So, in the concept of virtualization, what happens is that multiple applications can, are run on the same server safely. Okay, so what happens is that we create a virtualization layer that is also known as the term hypervisor. Okay, so it acts as a referee between the virtual machines, between the different virtual machines, and allow each virtual computer to behave independently, like they are different physical computers. For example, you guys must have heard about virtual machine. You must run different OS in your in your systems. For example, I also my current system is Windows. I use Windows 11, but with this, I also use Kali Linux, PowerTOS systems also. So how I'm able to do this? I'm able to do this with the help of these concepts. So we will study about them in detail also. So what happened is that, so like they have given an example for you guys here. Okay. So as you guys can see, for example, there are two buildings. Okay. So in the building, there are identical buildings. Okay. So in building one, assume that these buildings for like a physical service. Okay. So if there is a person, okay, who is living on the floor, okay, he's living on a 10th floor, on one floor, but he maintains the entire building and all. So other floors and other parts are wasted here. Other resources are wasted here, as you guys can see. But when we use the virtualization concept, so what does a hypervisor do is that it acts as it's just nothing but a software again. It maintains the and divides every single part, and it gives the access to every different part, so no single part of it is gets wasted. Okay, so this is the gist of this. So I highly recommend every one of you to go through this theory and take notes according to you what do you think is more important to you. Take notes and read and study this. So I will now directly move towards the questions. So what does virtualization enable? What does multiple applications to share? Okay, so they share physical server. Actually, what does virtualization do? It enables multiple applications on one physical server. So answer should be physical server. Yes, that's the right answer. So next question is, what is the name of the software that manages the resources for each virtual machine? That is the hypervisor. Yes. Let's move on to the next part. Now we will go through about hypervisor. It's like a building manager in the previous example what I've given to you. It's nothing but a software that creates and manages the virtual machine. And what kind of task it does? It's like it divides a physical computer into multiple virtual ones. Okay. It gives every single virtual machine its own CPU, share memory, and storage. So when if you guys might have deployed some uses some virtual machine and all stuff, so you must have known how you can set set the range, how much CPU share, memory share, storage share it will get. Okay, you guys can manipulate it, and it keeps everything isolated and safe, which means every machine is part is different from each other. So whatever is happening in one part does not affect the other part. Okay, so it is very useful. So hypervisors are divided into two categories, type 1 and type 2 hypervisors, on the basis of the implementations on which, for example, in which specific scenarios they are used. Okay, so the first one is the type 1 hypervisors. Okay, so they are directly used on run on the physical hardware. So they are very fast, efficient, and ideal for server and professional environments. So they are very highly ideal for server and professional environment cases. Other type is the type 2 hypervisors. What they do is that they run an existing operating system. So the hypervisor, so the virtual machines that we use in our systems. For example, I use Oracle Virtual in my system. So there are the examples of type 2 hypervisors, okay, because they run within an existing operating system. So I'm using Windows. So in my current existing Windows system, I'm using another system with the help of type 2 hypervisors, okay. So and they are ideal. They are much easier to install and ideal for learning, testing, and small setups. They are useful for these and they have given some use cases for type 1 and type 2 hypervisors, and I recommend you guys to go through these. Okay. So now there is one thing I want you to focus on. Okay. It is important. It's a conceptual thing. Like what they are saying here is that when using virtualization to test malicious files. Okay. Use virtualization. Okay. We should care. We should ensure that the host machine does not become infected by malware being tested in the guest machine. So if we are testing some malicious files in the guest machine, we have to make sure that our host machine, the main OS should not get infected by it. So to make sure that we use one approach that we use different operating system for the guest and the host machine. So they will directly get isolated. Okay. So for example, that like in my system, my host machine is Windows machine and my guest machine that I use is the Kali Linux and sometimes Parrot is also used. Okay. So the next concept is of virtual machines. Okay, the virtual machine is nothing but a virtual computer. Like this, for a virtual, it's like this is my original host computer now, which I'm using. But what hypervisors do that it creates a virtual computer that I can use. It will have its own virtual CPU, RAM, storage, network. It will have its own operating system, which can be any kind of operating system I want. Okay, and it is completely isolated from other virtual machines. Okay. So it means that if one will break, other will work as if nothing happened. Okay. Like for example, I was giving you that you guys can deploy VMs on your own computer using the tools. These are the tools like Oracle VirtualBox, VMware Workstation. I personally use Oracle VirtualBox. And these are the examples of type 2 hypervisor. Okay. So there is another concept of containers. So now what is container? If you remember the previous example I was giving you of apartments, okay? So what we were saying, like, there was the building was our physical server, okay? Hyper was the building manager who was dividing and the whole part so that nothing gets wasted, okay? So the apartments, the virtual machines act as the apartments in that, okay? And the containers act as rooms inside the apartment. There's a very good example actually they have given in this part. I recommend you to remember. It is much easier to remember it in like this way. Okay, it is much easier. So what happens is that what is the container? It's like a room inside apartment. So what it is a lightweight, isolated environment which runs a single application with all necessary components to support. Okay, so it's like in a in your virtual computer, virtual machine. It is like a single application that is running, but in an isolated environment. Instead of bringing the whole separate OS, it uses specific part and all stuff that it needs to perform its task and all. Okay, so and the easiest way to deploy a container in a VM is using a Docker, which we will study and cover in our further lectures. Okay, so this is the image basic for you guys to go like for clarifying for illustration. It's the image. So you guys can have a more graphical representation of it in your mind, and it will be make help you to easily remember these things. Okay. So with this, I suggest to go through the whole theory for you guys. I'm just giving you the gist, okay, of the whole part. So let's move towards the question. So suppose the user wants to deploy a study lab on the machine to practice some exercises for cybersecurity certification. Which type of hypervisor will they use? So I told you guys that type 1 is usually used for server and professional environment. Type 2 is used for the lab setups and testing setups for small startups. It's useful. So type 2 is the answer. So next question is asking, suppose the company wants to host multiple small applications in the same virtual machine. What would they use? They would use a So we have learned that in the same virtual machine we can use it for specific small tasks. We can use containers. So we will use the containers. Yeah, that's right. Now let's move towards the next part, managing virtual machines. So we have gone through about the theory of it, and now we will see the practical part of it. Okay. So you guys can see in this on the screen the virtualization manager. So firstly, I will give you a brief summary of it. So you guys can see there is a dashboard which is showing you the rough the summary of the whole system. Like as you guys, there are three hosts, seven currently running virtual machines. We have two stop virtual machines and four data stores. Okay, you guys, there are some filters we have been given. Okay, and these are the virtual machines. We have some categories like status. You guys can see you can perform action. It's showing the CPU they are using, memory they are taking, disk spaces, IP addresses, their uptime, which means that from which long period they are running currently, and the host. And when we move to downwards, and this is the host monitoring status, their usages, CPU usage, storage usage. Because on the start it was showing we are using three hosts. It was giving you a summary of three hosts, data usage and all stuff. Okay, so let's move towards the question parts. Okay, I've explained you these things. Okay, So what is the name of the virtual machine that has been running for the longest? Okay, longest time. Let's go to uptime. Let's. Oh, I'm just, like I have filtered it for the uptime. So the highest uptime is showing the 3 weeks. And today's, and that is monitoring SVS. Let's copy this. This is the virtual machine that has been running for the longest time. Okay. Next, it is asking what is the name of the virtual machine that is using the biggest amount of memory. Okay, so let's sort it on the basis. Okay, so it is highest, it is taking 32 GB memory and it is DB cluster 0. Copy it and paste it. And okay, so next question is how many VMs are in running state after you solve the issue and mail? So let's check the mail server. It's showing some kind of error. Let's restart it. Okay, guys. Restart and recover it. Recover it. And it's running now. So it's asking, we have solved the issue on mail server. Now it's also running. So it's asking us how many VMs are in the running state after solving. Okay, so let's check. For checking, we would like to see running VMs. It's showing 8. So now, firstly, previously it was running 7 VMs. If you guys remember, 8 running. So next is what is the name of the physical machine that is hosting most of the VMs? Check host. Okay, HP Prod 2, Prod 2, Prod 2, Prod 2. So as you guys can easily see that HP Prod 2 is the physical machine that is hosting most of the VMs for us. So let's copy it and paste it. And yeah, by this, we have completed our this task. So it was. So what do you guys think? It was easy now. So you don't have to worry about cybersecurity. Just go through. Firstly, understand the concepts. Try and test. You will learn everything about it. Okay, guys. So with this, we have completed this room also. So thank you guys for watching this video. And if you want me to cover a specific topic, then let me know in the comments. So thank you once again and stay safe and stay healthy and always be curious about cybersecurity.